So why is your coach not letting you fight yet? That was a good question I got asked the other day. Someone was saying that they've been training for a little over a year now, and they're wondering why their coach hasn't let them fight yet, isn't letting them fight yet. And that's, that's a broad question because there could be multiple answers for that. If it's MMA, it's obvious they need to be more well-rounded. It's very hard to get good at grappling and striking both all within a year, so you definitely need more time for that. If it's boxing or kickboxing, there's an answer for that as well. I would say most likely if you've been training for under a couple years, even under like 2 years, and your coach isn't letting you fight, they're probably looking after you guys. You have to understand as a coach when you're deciding on who's going to fight, because there's people come to the gym and want to fight right off the bat. I was one of them. I actually did fight right off the bat. And fortunately, I made it work, but looking back on it, it wasn't a good idea. But I had my first boxing fight actually 2 weeks after training. And then 3 months after that, I won my first Golden Glove championship. But I had a lot of attributes. I was 6'3" for the weight class. There was reasons, right? And the thing is, if your coach isn't letting you fight, they're looking after you guys. That means most likely if you've been training a year or two and your coach isn't letting you fight yet, you should probably deep down thank them, because it's unlikely they're just hating on you or they're just being, picking favorites, this and that. The issue is, as a coach, your job is to protect the fighter. Period. That's your main job. And if your guys, a lot of that is judged on sparring. So if you're a guy that's going in the gym and beating everybody up in sparring and you're not getting to fight, and others in your gym are, then yeah, there's an issue. If you're one of the better fighters in the gym and it's obvious you're one of the better fighters in the gym, but others are getting to fight and you're not, then that would probably be, there would be some other reason I can't really answer there. But if you're getting your butt whipped in sparring and you can't deal with the guys in the gym, or you can't let the guys that do have fights go a little hard on you and turn up on you some, and you can't deal with that, then that means, and you're still getting overwhelmed and you're not able to deal with it, you need more time. It's that simple. It's not that you're not going to be able to fight one day. It's not that you should quit martial arts and say, my coach is never going to let me fight. You just need more time. It's that simple. As a coach, you judge a lot of that decision on sparring. It's always mostly about sparring and technique, of course, as well. You could be a good a person that spars good and just comes in and you're aggressive and you're mean, and you can win rounds and do good just because you're a tough, mean dude or lady. But if your technique is shit, then your coach probably doesn't want you representing them as well. That's a big one that I do. Some of the guys that I coach, they're tough, and I feel like they could do decent in fights, but I'm not getting embarrassed with bad technique as well. That means something to real coaches that are actually good. So it's an accumulation of multiple things, of being probably not winning the sparring rounds, not winning the grappling rounds if it's MMA fights, not being able to let someone go, not being able to go hard and be able to take it, not being able to get broke. If you're getting broke in sparring, well, guess what? That fight, the adrenaline dump you have in the first few fights you have can be overwhelming for a lot of people. That's why you have to be in shape. Maybe you're not working out hard enough. Maybe you're not putting enough hours in to be in shape. There's multiple reasons here, but for the most part, I would say if you've been training for under a couple years and your coach isn't letting you fight yet, the main answer I would say is probably because they're looking after you and don't want you to go out there and get hurt and realize you need more development time. And that may be harsh to some people and may hurt their feelings, but I mean, I would rather hurt someone's feelings than I would see them get hurt in a fight, because even with shin guards, with headgear, everything, people still get knocked out. People still get their nose broke. People still get their jaws broke. There's still, some of those things can be rare. Like it's rare with 16-ounce gloves for someone to get their nose broke, but it definitely happens. It probably happens more than you would think. In sparring, it happens. People get their legs broke from getting their kick checked wrong. People get their arms broke from getting kicked in the arm too hard. there's always reasons where you can get injured, even with the safety of big gloves, elbow pads, headgear, shin guards, whatever, right? There's always ways to get injured. It's still a combat sport, and most likely your coach is just looking after you guys. So don't lose hope on anything. Don't lose hope. You need to just keep training, keep progressing, do everything you can. But I will say this: if you're upset at your coach and you're thinking about switching a team and going to a different team, that because they won't let you fight, that's a risky option, because I've seen that happen over the years where one coach has higher standards and they make their guys train longer, do more to be able to get a fight and represent that team, and the people get tired of it and they leave and go to another team, and the team instantly lets them go fight. And that's fine, and that kid can even win those fights, a couple of those fights. But eventually, from what I've seen over the years, eventually it ends up bad. They could go win a fight, they could get matched up good, they can win a few fights. But if your coach is telling you you need more time before they put you in a fight, the next coach may put you in a fight, but most likely eventually it's the end game is you getting hurt, you getting knocked out, you getting beat up pretty bad, you getting embarrassed, or whatever the case is. I mean, this has happened ever since I've started martial arts 18 years ago. I've seen this. I've seen guys that come to a team that has a very high standard, and they get they're definitely not one of the better guys in that gym, because the standards are so high, the team is so good. So then they go to another team and they all of a sudden are one of the better guys. And they're like, oh, okay. And then the coach sees that and wants to throw them in fights, and then they'll win a couple fights and then they end up getting hurt bad, or they end up turning them pro too soon, or turning them into a sanctioned fighter and not giving them enough smokers and lower level tournaments before they go into the bigger stuff. And they end up getting their ass whipped. They end up being a journeyman, having a 500 record, and quitting martial arts and being bitter towards it, because realistically they should have just waited and did things the right way. Because here's the thing, guys, you can do everything the right way and it still turn out bad. I mean, it happened to me. I think a lot of it was technical issues, but there was never a time. I'm not a guy like my UFC career. I started off on a tear. I won 9 out of my first 10 fights, and then when I ran into the top 10 guys, it was like a completely different organization with different people, right? And I didn't cut corners. I did everything right. I trained harder than everyone I know. I did pretty much. I didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't party most of my entire 20s. And things still turned out bad there at the end. So think of that on your lower level. You can do everything right. You can go to your job, work, come to practice, only do those things. Don't party, don't do everything right. Don't do anything wrong. Don't party, do everything right. Diet, make the weight class your coach tells you to do. You can do everything right and still lose. So imagine if you're doing everything wrong, or you're doing several things wrong. And your coach is probably just looking after you guys, if that's the scenario of you not being able to fight and them not allowing you to fight. And I would say pull them aside and have that talk with them. But I promise you, they just want you to get better at the techniques, and they're probably just looking after you. And I promise you, if you pulled them aside and talked to them, they'd probably kind of explain that to you, that you need more time to develop, so don't take it personal. Look at them almost like an uncle to you, or a father, or a family member that don't want you to get hurt. So they're trying to look after you and move you the right way. That's the best option, guys, I promise you. And now if as far as leaving your coach because you're not getting fights, you should be leaving your coach if they're teaching shit technique. That's when you should be leaving your coach. When they teach bad technique, when they don't know what they're doing from a technique standpoint, that's what's going to get you hurt. Not them moving you slowly and letting you develop your craft. Just something to think about, guys. Let me know any questions y'all have. Comment in the comments below, and leave any questions, any videos you'd like me to go over. And if you're new to martial arts, looking for a guide, get my book. On Amazon, The Ultimate Guide to Choosing a Martial Arts School and Instructor. The link is in the description below. Thank you, guys.